about the Korg Electribes, the Korg Electribe MX and the Korg Electribe Synth model. I'm here to give my review, opinions, pros and cons to anybody who's into grooveboxes, who likes to make beats without looking at a laptop screen or a computer screen and aligning instruments to a grid. You like to twist knobs, tap out rhythms, tap out synth lines, anything of that nature. So if you're thinking about buying either one of these, hopefully I could help your decision on which one to get, and let's get into it. Alright, so here's the Korg Electribe MX, and what really brought me to this thing was the 12x7 tubes that are in this thing. I love tube gear. I love the way tubes sound. So that when I saw this piece of gear with tubes in it, I was really intrigued. This is a great groove box. I felt pretty happy to just kind of stumble on this thing on accident. I was on tour in Europe and someone had one. I was playing around with it and I was like, wow, this thing is amazing. I love how you can drive the output of with more tube gain. So if I play this beat for you, you can just get it really dirty to where you could take out the tubes, or you could just get a little bit of that tube saturation going on. So the other things I liked about it is how this is laid out like a keyboard. If you're on a synth part, so there's your little keyboard there. And I like that it has you can go up to an 8-bar loop, and the drum sounds are good. So you got your drum parts here, 5 synth parts. Now the synth oscillators are really cool. You can really tweak them. I'm not really going to get into that now, but you can get some really cool synth sounds with this oscillator here. It also has knobs for tweaking and adjusting. You got a synth filter here, you got a modulation here, and these are really cool. I also really like this roll button. So if if you have, let's say I got like a snare here, you can hit this roll button and you can do a roll, and I like that feature. The arpeggiator is really cool. And you could actually record those moves like that in a beat, and I think that's a really cool feature as well. Now, what else I liked about this thing is it has 4 outputs. So when I'm recording, this one here is the mic, an audio in, so for a mic or a line input. Some people use this as vocoder. That's another cool thing about it. So I like your 4 outputs here. So basically it's left right stereo and a 3/4 individual out. Now the 3/4 individual out isn't a stereo output. So if you have, let's say, a stereo synth with some panning going on, and you record it out of these, or you send it out of these outputs, it won't be in true stereo and you won't get the panning effect. That only works in the left-right out. So that is pretty cool. There's on each track you have up to 3 effects. So this is what I didn't like, because this gets a little bit complicated, so here you can select an effect and you have to turn that on whatever track you want it on, and then here is each effect where you have to, these are the ones you'll be editing. So in the beginning I was getting really confused with what effect was on what and what one I'm editing, but anyway, it's cool effects. You got some really cool beat sync delays. The reverb isn't bad. The distortion, the decimator is awesome for you noise freaks out there. The pitch shifter, everything, all these effects are like really good. This box is really good for the price. I bought this for $300, and you heard the beat I made, you know. You know, a lot of people say that you can't make hip hop on this, but you know, I make some banging beats on this thing. So, with that being said, that's what I love about this. Now, also when I track this, when I make a beat and track it to Pro Tools, I use this as the slave through the MIDI ports here. You got your MIDI in, out, through. So, I use this as the slave, and what I do is you can mute any of these parts here. So what I'll do is the first 4 drum tracks, kick, snare, clap, hat. You know, I'll send a kick out of 1, snare out of 2, hat out of 3, clap out of 4, or however you want to do it. And then you know, I have to do a few passes. So you do 4 at once. And I think that's pretty cool for tracking this out, because when this was made, there was no like export to a DAW, you know, so we're still kind of going a little bit old school here when you track it out in the Pro Tools. So then, you know, I'd mute these 4, do my next drum parts out of the 4 outputs. Then when you get to the synth parts, like I said, if you have stereo synth parts that have a lot of panning, you're going to want to use the 1 and 2 outputs. And so, you know, if all your synth parts are in stereo, then you're going to have to do a pass for each one. But that was the old school way of doing things. Overall, I love this thing, make beats on it all the time, and it's a great piece of gear for the price. All right, here we are with the Korg Electribe music production station, the synth model. This is the blue one. It does not sample. Neither does the MX. That one doesn't sample either. They're both just synth models. So what I like about this one is it's really compact. I've taken it on a couple tours with me, made beats on the plane, made beats in the back of a van. It runs on batteries. So that's what I liked about it. I like the way the pads feel. They're really, they have a good feel to them. Nice pressure, nice sensitivity. The drum sounds huge on this. There's definitely next level from the MX. There's some banging kick drums on here and some great snare sounds. So these are what I really liked about it. There is a lot of things that I didn't like about the Electribe. What I don't like is there's not a keyboard. So when you go into keyboard mode, okay, so let's go into keyboard mode. It sets everything in a scale. So that kind of limits you on your creativity as far as playing rhythms. I guess the pro would be that nothing's going to be out of tune because everything will be set to a scale. Yeah, you can change your scale modes, but that kind of really annoyed me that there's no keyboard. What else was annoying was just the 4-bar loop. You can only do a 4-bar beat on this. And, you know, when I'm making a beat, I like to do my little accents at the end of the 4 and then at the end of the 8. And change them up a little bit, you know, have it one way for 4 bars and then a different way for the next 4 bars. Well, you have to go and do this copy. You have to copy your program, and then you have to link your program, and it's a pain in the ass. What else I didn't like about it is the shortcuts. Those shortcuts aren't indicated. So when you push shift in a button, it's a shortcut. They sell little templates you can put over it that tell you what they are, but you have to buy them. And or you can go to the Korg website, I think, and you can find out what they are. But you might even be able to download a template off the website and just cut it out and put it over your thing, put it over your Electribe. So to get into step edit mode, it's, you have to enter, then you have to scroll around and then find your see what I'm saying? You're just scrolling. Okay, where's my step edit mode? It's okay. Here we are, step edit mode. Enter again. Then you can get into your step edit mode. I thought that kind of sucks. With the MX, you can just start step editing without even touching any buttons, and you can shift to your next bars and start editing. If hits are off and you want to align them right. It was pretty easy, but now here you have to go into the menu and enter and then scroll around and look for what parameter you need. So that is kind of annoying. This arpeggiator, maybe when I get it a little bit better, maybe when I learn this thing a little bit better, I might appreciate it more, but I don't really like it. The effects are dope. I like that you can turn on effects on each channel, and you're not limited to 3 like you were on the MX. So, other than that, I've never tracked a beat on this thing. I heard you can export to Ableton. I don't really work with Ableton. I'm using Pro Tools, and that's my main DAW. So when I track this thing, I'm gonna have to just use the outputs left and right, and I'm probably gonna just do it one at a time so I can have everything in stereo, and that's kind of annoying. So if I have a beat with 12 parts, I can I'll have to record 4 bars 12 times, and then in my DAW I'll just copy and paste the whole beat together from there to make it faster, because I'm not going to record 4 minutes, 3 minutes of a beat for each sound. It's just a waste of time. But all in all, for the price, the sound quality, this is pretty dope. It's fun to play with, and I've made some good beats on it. Here's one. Anyway, you get the point. You can do stuff like that. So, I'm not disappointed about the money that I spent. There was just, there's no roll button. I didn't like that either. So I just wish that, the main thing I wish is you would have 8 bars, an 8-bar loop to work with. 4-bar loop is kind of limiting for me. But, for what you get, the size and what you can do with this thing, it's well worth the money, and I'm not complaining. That's just what I didn't like about all the features on the new one that it doesn't have, because I really liked some of those other features, like the 4 outputs I really liked, because it made tracking your beat out a little bit easier. So, any of you beat makers out there, producers who've been working with this thing, got some tips for me, please comment, and let's get in touch. If you guys know of any other groove boxes out there, I would love to know about them. If you took the time to watch this, thank you very much. Like, subscribe. Like I said, I'm always down to meet people and and let's trade ideas and tips and tricks, and let me know what kind of gear you're working on. I love grooveboxes. So, all right. Peace out. Big man.